this year, and it gave us a list of 1 to 32 in order. I would love to just have a look at it and let me know if you agree with ChatGPT or if you disagree with ChatGPT and what changed. So we'll just sort of set up the conversation that way. All right. Well, let's start from the top.
Yeah, right. So in a 1 to 10, we've got OKC, then Cleveland, Denver, New York Knicks, Houston Rockets, Los Angeles Lakers, Clippers, Minnesota Timberwolves, Orlando Magic, and then the 10th team that's sneaking in there is the Golden State Warriors.
Golden State at 10 is shocking. Like, come on, have they not read the ESPN 57 wins this year?
Yeah, right. So they're citing Fox Sports as their source for this 2% chance of the Golden State Warriors getting in there for the championship. But man, John,
2%.
I like the way the Warriors are looking this year. I think bringing in Horford, finally solving the Kuminga contract negotiation. I'm really intrigued to see if that has any sort of latent effect on sort of the year. But apart from that, like last year, they had all of this change. They got new personnel coming in, and then they had injuries pretty early on to DeAnthony Melton. And then that big shakeup at the end of the year. They were kind of like a team in flux. They showed some glimpses, but I thought their margin was razor thin last year. Seeing them at 10, above, like below teams like the Minnesota Timberwolves and the Lakers, for example, I think that's astounding.
Below the Lakers, yeah. That's just like the LA flex, right? You add a few spots for the Los Angeles Lakers, they're always overhyped, I think. Any team with LeBron James, even though he's like 92, every team with LeBron James gets overhyped. Or Skinny Luca, or Denominatin.
Yeah, right. Yeah, and I feel like there's like significant question marks with each one of those like, those nicknames, right? Ayton, I hope if he's buried as like the third option and he's around like the leadership of LeBron, maybe the LeBron effect is going to bring him back into life. But like Skinny Luca still hasn't proven himself. Like Skinny Luca is not going to not argue with the refs every game. And that's like, I feel like that's more impactful on the outcome of games and series for him than like how much like he's got in his love handles. Like
he's still going to have the ball for like 90% of the possession, right? He's going to dribble, and either step back three or kick it to the corner.
But it's not like the unskinny Luka wasn't a menace. Like that guy led the Mavs to the NBA finals and was having a good year again. Yeah, he got injured, but I guess they didn't want to pay for a lot of what ifs. But yeah. But I mean, if anybody can pull out and transform his career, it'll be LeBron and JJ Redick for 100%.
I love how that was like the most polite way of calling him Fat Luka, the unskinny Luka.
I mean, that guy is a wizard with the basketball. I don't think there's no, apart from him yelling at the refs, I've got nothing to criticize him about.
Yeah, and I'm not sure the weight loss is going to affect his mentality of defense, right? Like, was it his weight that was making him not really try or not get back? It's what you said. He would just be yelling at the refs, running back instead of running back.
100%. And if that can change, like if JJ Redick can like sort of infuse that intensity and the NBA obsession, and if LeBron can kind of like communicate to him how important it is to think about the wider legacy, like he's got a chance to be in rarefied top 10 NBA player of all time. I would say probably top 5 by the time it's all said and done. Like that's in play for him. But if he doesn't care about both ends of the floor, it's going to be a harder argument for later on. And who better than LeBron to be able to try and usher him into that part of his career? But I mean, that guy is crazy.
So the Warriors, right? Like I'm a huge Warriors fan, and last year towards the end of the season, once they got Jimmy Butler, they went on. I think they're a top 7 in offense and defense. Like that was, now they're playing urgent must-win basketball, but that's my sort of evidence that the latter half of the year, as well as beating the 2 seed, that they can be frisky. Like I could see the Warriors realistically in the West finishing top 4. I think that's what they should aim for to get that home court. And I think this should be the strategy, right? I think they should go hard for the first half right in 2022 they went 18-2, and then I think they went 500 for the rest of the year.
Mm.
Like, go hard, tire yourself out at the beginning, and then you can rest a little bit and go into the playoffs fresh instead of struggling at the beginning because you're not competing and then playing playoff basketball for 3 months.
You know, that start, I think, put everybody on notice last year. It was phenomenal to watch.
Last year,
And to see a new Splash Brother enter into the fray. And when he had it going, man, they were beautiful. And then
Buddy Hield is the X
and he
factor. Yeah,
didn't. Oh my goodness, that was hard to watch. But I agree with you. I think from what I have observed, like Butler is not a meaningless basketball guy. And so, like you said, if they can put a good margin of wins under their belt early on in the season and then kind of coast towards the playoffs, not that that team would want to coast in by any stretch of the imagination, but given their age and the amount of like postseason experience that Steph has got, that Draymond Green has got, that Al Horford has got, for example. What's it? Melton coming off an injury. You want those guys to be in good shape and like hitting their strides and coming together at the right time rather than having to force things. I think they sort of shot themselves in the foot last year a little bit by having to go so hard. And I wonder if that was one of the reasons why Steph has his injury and they struggle a little bit about against the Minnesota Timberwolves.
I was watching an interview. It might have even been Steph Curry. I don't know if you saw him do the break 50 with Bryson DeChambeau for YouTube Golf.
No.
And he was asked, when did you recover from your hamstring injury? And it was like the day he would have been able to play the next game. Like the
Yeah,
day
right.
they got eliminated, the next day he was healthy.
Yeah, wow.
So they were so close. So in that top 10, Lauren, we talked about the Lakers, but who is your biggest like surprise? Like you think they're too high on the list?
Like, I'm surprised by Minnesota Timberwolves. Like, I think they lost Alexander Walker. He was a big
Mm.
part of their team last year. I thought that they had a really interesting year last year where they had spurts where they showed that they were really good, but I just didn't see Ant consistently come to that place. I mean, when he's on, he's so fun to watch. But that maturity, whether or not he can carry it for a whole season, I mean, I guess they're number 8. Like they're still, but still, you got like some frisky teams way below in this ranking, like the Atlanta Hawks, the Detroit Pistons, for example. I think even Dallas Mavericks. I would almost put those in that category of teams. Hopefully, the playoff experience last year of beating the Warriors and then going up against they went up against the Nuggets, didn't they? Or did no, they
No.
out to OKC, right?
Yeah, that was the conference finals, I
That was
think,
a
right?
conference finals. Yeah, so going up to against Shea and then seeing like I feel like that OKC team is just such a well-oiled machine, an absolute juggernaut from top to bottom. And like they have a good time on the floor together as like a brotherhood, it looks like as a team. But like there's a difference between the way Shea plays and Ant plays. And like, yeah, Shea can't or doesn't play angry in the same way that you see Ant really getting into it and flexing in the same way. But like Shea is all business all the time, and you don't ever really see him let his foot off the gas. Where I feel like sometimes Ant can be a little bit invisible in games. I mean, if that can change, then yeah, hopefully they're a little bit high. But I was surprised to see them in that spot. I think Houston Rockets, it's interesting to see them as high as number 5 on this list. With Fred VanVleet going down, I think they're still going to be a frisky team. They were second in the West last year by the time they got to the playoffs. And I think that experience against a proven team like the Warriors last year really is going to help them. KD's really going to help them. That's a massive upgrade over Jalen Green. But I don't know if the Cleveland is quite or Houston's quite that high at this stage.
I saw so two things. I saw KD, he got extended today,
Yeah.
and he's made the most money just off contracts from any NBA player ever. He's made the most money in the history of the league. That's not with endorsements or anything. That's just, yeah. I guess when you're changing teams so much and you're making short contracts, that's
Yeah.
probably why, hey.
Sure. I
And
mean,
then FGA, you talked about SGA. I cannot stand. I know you're wearing a Canadian hat. We're both Canadian. I cannot stand watching that guy play.
really?
Lauren, like him and Joel Embiid, are so frustrating to watch, in my opinion. Like,
I'm amazed you didn't drop James Harden in that list as
yeah,
well.
yeah, and I could add Jimmy Butler, but I'm a Warriors fan, so
Yeah,
that
okay. Yeah, yeah,
but
yeah.
James Harden is less so what he was on the Rockets, right? He just had that swipe through on the Rockets and he'd go to the line, but I'm hoping the refs call the game, call SGA a lot less like whistle heavy this year because it just muddies up the game.
You think that's going to happen? He was
Yeah.
the MVP of the league. He led the team to a historic season last year and won the championship. You think he's going to get less respect from the referees?
Yes, I hope so. I hope they don't see the whiplash. Oh, let's add Brunson to this list as well. Like they're gonna get whiplash with the amount of times they're flinging their head back or just like to create separation, body checking the other person, and then flopping like they got hit and then getting a whistle. Like, come on.
Yeah, look, it is. I think it is frustrating that you're refereeing defense out of the game a lot. And I understand that 3-pointers and dunks sell tickets and get the crowd going a little bit nuts. But, I think being somebody who used to play a lot and really enjoyed playing, I took a lot of pride on the defensive end of the floor. You man, when you can shut somebody down and make sure that you hold the opposing best player scoreless for a game or scoreless for a quarter or whatever the case might be, like that's a great feeling. And if you feel like the game is rigged in against you, like that sucks. But I will say, like the way in which Shea plays, like if you've rigged it and you've got it on your favor, then fair enough. But from what I watched in the finals, I didn't think they were under calling on Shea. I thought that he played pretty a pretty heavy series. And yeah, I think for me he's earned his flowers in that conversation.
I do think it is a skill to get a whistle though. Like I think that's a part of a skill, right? And let's talk about the Denver Nuggets here for a moment because if Jokic got the whistle that Joel Embiid gets when he actually plays, like he's already considered the best player currently, he would go to another level because he'd be getting 50 points a game with the amount of free throws he'd be shooting.
Do you think that has a little bit to do with his sort of relaxed attitude towards the NBA? Like this guy celebrates his championship and then disappears and goes like racing his horses in another country. Do you think the United States is hungry for like a champion that is going to be really sort of proud and almost like angry in the same sense of like the Michael Jordans of the world? Like, do you think that plays against him in the calls that he gets on the floor?
I don't because if you watch him play, I put Jokic and Luka in the same category of complaining to the refs. Like I know you're talking about like the extracurricular, but you watch, they both like they just run down the court like with their hands out like this. I don't know, Joel Embiid
Does
sort of
does does Jokic just like stop and bark and not get back on defense?
sometimes, you know,
I don't have a problem with somebody running back on defense with their arms up. Like that doesn't worry me one little bit. But it's when you stop and you have ignored the play down the other side. And that's the part of Luca's game that drives me nuts. But look, I think the Denver Nuggets are going to be a really interesting team this year. I think with Bruce Brown coming back, if he can kind of get back to that solid role player position that he was in, and like a lot of people love Michael Porter Jr., but whenever I watched him, I thought he was a flamethrower, a bit of a ball stopper. And I'm really intrigued to see whether Cam Johnson's going to be an upgrade on this team on both ends of the floor and is going to be that margin that will be a difference in the postseason in this next year. What do you think?
well, I'll admit I haven't watched Cam Johnson since he was a son. Like
Yeah.
I haven't watched a game of the Brooklyn Nets. But I don't remember him being a lockdown defender. I remember him being a little bit of a liability on the defensive end more than anything.
Okay.
He in my what I remember, he was a corner 3-point shooter. I just
Yeah.
don't remember his defense being super strong.
Okay.
And so, look, I think he is a very similar player as Michael Porter Jr. for a lot less money.
Yeah. Right. Okay.
And he will move the ball. I think he will make the correct pass, but I think he's there to hit open threes from Jokic double teams. And, you know, Jokic has got to have the best court vision in the league, I would say. And so he'll probably get a lot of open shots, just whether he can. It's a make or miss league.
So speaking of the ChatGPT rundown, here's the defensive overview between Cam Johnson and Michael Porter Jr. So defensive IQ, Cam Johnson, solid, understands rotations and team schemes well, reads plays early. He's rarely caught sleeping. Michael Porter Jr., below average early in career, but has improved, can still lose focus off ball or overhelp unnecessarily. Lateral quickness, Cam Johnson is average to above average. Michael Porter Jr. is below average with bad footwork and stiff hips. Versatility, switchability, Cam Johnson can switch 2 to 4 comfortably, smart enough to hold his own against guards for short stints. Michael Porter Jr. mostly defends 3s and 4s and is not comfortable switching onto guards. Best in a scheme where he stays home. Rim help and defense. Cam Johnson offers some weak side help, and it's saying that Michael Porter Jr. is absolutely not a rim protector. Defensive metrics is plus 0.3, solid to positive for Cam Johnson, where it's minus 0.4, so slight negative. So the basic impact is when healthy, Brooklyn's defensive ratings improve slightly with him on the court, whereas Denver's defense holds steady or dips with Michael Porter Jr. on the court. The verdict is that Cam Johnson is the better individual and team defender, where Michael Porter Jr. might be a bit of a better defensive rebounders. We'll see about that. If you've got Jokic, who's always got double-digit rebounds, then maybe you can give up a few rebounds for a better individual and team defender.
I think Michael Porter Jr. is going to have a blast in Brooklyn.
Man,
He's just going to be able to chuck those shots up. He is going to shoot like 23s a game.
The guys, he's going to get the pass off the first pass from the guard, and he's going to launch it. Doesn't matter how many people are in position.
Not even playing a 7-second offense, but he's just going to he's going to take it into his own hands.
He's going to be like, look, Steve Nash, we got 4 seconds left.
Yeah, he needs D'Antoni and Steve Nash on his coaching staff.
He's 3 years too late. Poor guy.
So, great segue. Speaking of D'Antoni and Steve Nash, I messaged you to share a sleeper team in the Western and Eastern Conference.
Yeah.
And before you do, I'd like to share my sleeper team.
Okay.
And this is different to what I shared earlier. I can see Phoenix being better than people expect. I'm not saying they can contend, but you've still got Devin Booker. People have a sour taste for Jalen Green because of the playoffs. He was a pretty good regular season player, right? So you've still got Booker. You've still got Green. Dylan Brooks seems to help teams win no matter where he goes. Again, another Canadian that sort of grinds my gears, but he's like, his 3-point shot has gone a lot better, and you can't say that he doesn't add toughness to a team.
He also has one hell of a wardrobe.
Sorry, yeah. And some dance moves, apparently. So what do you think? What do you think about my Suns take? Do you think the Suns have a chance at making the play-in?
Man, I think it's a stacked Western Conference. So they would have to, working down from the bottom, I think Portland Trailblazers, Utah Jazz, Sacramento Kings, Memphis Grizzlies, that's going to be what our bottom 4. And with Phoenix in there, that means that they'll be contending with the New Orleans Pelicans, I think. And then if we have some shock injuries to some team that we don't see about, look, I think that they would be able to hold their own against those bottom teams, the Utah Jazz, Portland Trailblazers. If they got into the play-in, I don't see them going against like a healthy Ja Morant in the Memphis Grizzlies. And if Jaren Jackson Jr. is on par, I think they might play fun basketball. Like, it might be fun to watch. They've got Jalen Green, when he jumps, sometimes you just don't know what's going to happen with him.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if I put my chips on that, but I think it's an interesting pick. It really is a dark horse, that's for sure.
Well, let's just go through those bottom teams here for a second again. So is it the top 11 or the top 10 for play-in? Top 10.
10. So 7 and 8 the preferential sort of like the bonus round. And if they lose, they've still got a game against 9 and 10.
So here's the teams that we sort of assume will be outside of the play-in.
Yeah.
And let me know if you disagree with me. So Utah Jazz.
Yeah.
Sacramento Kings.
Yeah.
So apparently they're just replaying the Chicago Bulls 2022 team.
With Russ.
Sorry, with Russell Westbrook. Yeah. Man, that's such a sad franchise. You had the coach of the year in Brown. You had De'Aaron Fox. You had the light the beam. And then you give it all up for DeMar DeRozan and Zach LaVine. Like, what are we doing? Okay,
Yeah.
so sorry.
If
I
Mike
digress.
takes the Knicks all the way this year, that would be the most sort of like that would be real vengeance right there. That would be
Yeah,
so he would be so vindicated.
that was that was horrible. So the Kings, the Jazz, those are like guaranteed, right? Well, guaranteed's a strong word. The Trailblazers, where are you at on the Trailblazers?
Like I don't see like enough hope coming out of them yet. I think what Scoot Henderson is still injured. They've got Damian Lillard injured coming back later. I don't know what more he is going to add to this team at this stage in his career. I mean, of course he can still shoot it, but you need defense to contend against some of these big, heavy guys. And how are you going to run after the Houston Rockets and compete with the Wembys and Luca and so forth? I just don't see enough sort of like depth and grunt
Yeah.
in that team. I don't know
They,
if they
they,
got better over the year.
they've been playing the Warriors. They played the same teams a lot in the preseason. So they played the Warriors twice this preseason and they were frisky. Drew Holiday is looking, he's old, but he's still looking like he's got some defensive edge in him. And some of the young players that they have, they were popping off the screen, but the Warriors weren't really taking it too seriously. So
Yeah.
let's say the Trailblazers are out as well, just for the sake of the conversation. So that's three teams.
Yeah.
Where are you at the Pelicans?
I think that was going to be my dark horse team. I think it's an interesting franchise. I think that they have been sort of like stuck in mediocrity for a long time. I think it's too bad that the AD and DeMarcus Cousins experiments didn't work out for them, and for a long
Mm,
time, I think that franchise has been hurt by that. I think with Zion coming in, everybody who was watching Zion in high school was hoping that he would have like an above the rim sort of professional career. I'm afraid that guy maybe peaked way too early in his career, and I hope that he can stay healthy for a whole year, because we did have some snippets of him in the play-in. Was it last year even that or the year before, where it just you're like, man, this could look good. Um, then doubling down and bringing in Jordan Poole and some of the and well, Kevon Looney is a solid player, and hopefully he can bring some discipline into the squad. I like Herb Jones. I like Trey Murphy the third. I think that they do have some solid pieces out there. Whether or not they can be coached to contention, I would hope that they can squeeze out some good games. And especially in a year where the Grizzlies lost Darren Bain and they don't look quite as strong as they were last year, I think that there is space for them to be able to pop up ahead of the Utah Jazz, Portland Trailblazers, Sacramento Kings, and then like in that sort of 7 to 11 or 8 to 11 mark, there's opportunity for some surprises.
So we've named four teams, and then it'd be silly. It's got to be the Suns at that 11. Like, just I'm not going to be silly and say like another team's going to be worse than the Sun. But if there is a team, I was just saying the Suns. So that sort of are the teams that might be out. But let's say oftentimes there's a team that sneaks in and a team that disappoints, right? There's a team that is better than expectations, and there's a team that doesn't meet expectations. So in the top six teams, let's say, so you've got the Nuggets, the Thunder, the Timberwolves, the Rockets, the Clippers.
Did you say your Warriors yet?
I'm bringing the Warriors in now, the Warriors, and then let's go to the top eight, the Lakers. Am I missing? And then the
Did you put San
Grizzlies?
Antonio up there?
No, San Antonio. Well, are they someone that beats? What are the expectations of the Spurs?
I think that could be one of those teams that goes on a run and molds a little bit better than what we hope. Like I am all chips on the Wemby bandwagon. I
Yeah,
hope that guy has a long career and stays healthy. It is phenomenal television to watch him move and to see what he can do. Whether or not they have enough around him, I like De'Aaron Fox and the clutch and speed with which that guy can play. And they're just such a well coached organization. When they're all in and they're looking to win, they win well. When they're trying to tank, they tank exceptionally well.
yeah. Don't forget they've got Stephon Castle too, right? And
Oh, did you see
Dylan
his?
Harper.
Did you see his dunk today?
No, today
Oh,
did they play?
just drives into the lane, 2 foot stop, and just pops as if he's got two springs on his legs, and it's just crush. So yeah, so I think they're going to be a super fun team to watch, and I think the competitive energy that De'Aaron Fox and the clutch capability he brings, plus the bonkers ahead of schedule maturity of Wemby, I could see them sneaking into like a 4 or 5 spot potentially. And so then
Really?
you'd have like OKC, I'd have Denver in that conversation. Who would be some of the other ones that would be Houston Rockets? I still think they're going to be up in that conversation.
You sort of are wrestling between like the Clippers,
Clippers, Spurs, and Lakers. Who would you take out of those three?
and the Clippers added some players. If this Clippers team was in like 2015, it'd be the greatest team ever assembled. Like they have some great players.
Yeah, it's true.
Like, can you trust that Kawhi Leonard will play more than 50 games? I'm putting the Warriors there.
Does he need to? Does he need to play 50 games for them to be able to hold home court in the playoffs?
I think personally, I think so. I mean, Ty Lue, I would say, is a top three coach. Yeah, top three coach in the NBA. Yeah, I don't know. Like their roster, they have a lot of older players, right? Like, what are you expecting from Chris Paul? What are you expecting from Brooke Lopez? And then they went and got Bradley Beal. So off of that big contract, that looks like a great signing, right? Like I think a lot of his flack was due to his contract, not his play. Like his play wasn't measuring up. John Collins, they've got.
John, yeah. I mean, up front you got Ivica Zubac, Brooke Lopez, John Collins. That's a big skilled top end. And then Bogdanovich, Bradley Beal is still there if he can play. Chris Dunn, like, yeah, they're not a slouch team for sure. Holy.
Yeah. And
Do
they
you
still
think
got James Harden. So James Harden is quietly still a fantastic player, right? Like he's averaging what, 10 assists a game? Like he really runs that offense really well. He's gone away from being that central point to a really good distributor. I would say for them to be a top 4 team that Kawhi Leonard would have to be healthy for more than 50 games. Like, try to get to that 62 game mark. Yeah,
Yeah.
so
So yeah, I mean, I think this just goes to show that that top end, like 1 to 6 to guarantee yourself out of the play in, that's like prime real estate. That's going to be hard to nose to cement yourself in that space.
what do you think? So Adam Silver obviously wanted parity in the NBA based off, the different salary cap restrictions. Are you a fan of the parity, or do you wish it was more 2017 Warriors? Like you've got your clear jug. Well, I guess that's the Thunder. They're the clear juggernaut. But yeah, do you like the parity, or do you like to have a little bit more separation?
Look, I think it is like being a Toronto Raptors fan back in what was it, 2016? Was it 16? No, it was 17 or 8. I can't remember.
When they won?
Yeah, yeah. What year was that?
19.
2019. Yeah, so being a Toronto fan and having a Toronto team that can a small market for the NBA, right? Like it's big market for Canada, but small market for the NBA and an international team where a lot of guys don't want to go there because of the weather and the tax situation. For them to be able to bring in players to win a championship. The energy in the city to this day is different because of it. And you've got, like, as you're leaving Toronto Pearson International Airport, there is a mural on the side of the wall as you're going through, just clearing customs, of Kawhi as shot over the Philadelphia
All
76ers.
over
Right.
Embiid
And
there. Was it
it's
over
like,
Embiid?
yeah, 100%. And that photo is there with everybody looking at him. And I think that puts so much pride into a city, into a team. So I do love the idea of, a team like Oklahoma being able to draft incredibly well and have the opportunity to field a team that's going to be of that quality. And to, Milwaukee won recently. Like these are things that are it is so rare to win a championship. And I think because we watch the Lakers do it regularly, we watch the Warriors do it quite often. We saw repeats in Cleveland and in Miami. We kind of forget that this is not a frequent thing. Like we've had freaks of nature in LeBron and Curry. So I don't mind it. I don't mind it so much. I guess I feel for the guys who perhaps might earn quite as much as they could have made in different sports, but like the LA Dodgers are buying their way to potentially another World Series. So
Hey, the Jays might do it.
come on, baby, Game
If the
7.
Jays do it, that banner at the airport will be
Yeah,
taken
there'll be
down
some
and
extra
replaced.
photos to add to that. Yeah,
Here's what's happened in Toronto. The Maple Leafs, do you know the last time they won the Stanley Cup?
it's like what 6?
Yeah, 1967.
Yeah,
Like, they just need something that's meant to be their team.
yeah,
But it's like, "Oh, we'll do with the Raptors. We'll celebrate this." All right,
yeah.
Lauren, just as we wrap up, I wanna ask you.
Well, hang on. You need to give your dark horse teams in the East.
Okay, we'll go East, and then I'll ask you this question. All right, why don't you start? What's your dark horse team in the East?
I think the whole world is spending a lot of time talking about the Western Conference, but I was looking at the East the other day, and I think Atlanta, Detroit, they have Orlando, New York. This is like a great year to make a run. But I think a lot of people are writing off the Boston Celtics, and I
Mm.
still think that they did a great job in bringing Anthony Simmons in for a flyer to see what he can do on a team, and to have him under contract is great. If Jason Tatum comes back ahead of schedule, that would be wonderful for them. But
I
I
just don't.
am interested to see what happens with Jalen Brown when this is Jalen Brown's team. I don't think that they're going to be tanking to try and get a good lottery spot. That's not their style. Peyton Pritchard can shoot the lights out of the ball. I I would pick Boston as my sleeper team.
Who has a better record at the end of the year, the 76ers or the Celtics?
I mean, if everybody stays healthy, then it would be the 76ers, but that's just the game with them with Paul George
That's
and
the part of the
Joel
question.
Embiid. Uh, yeah, good question.
Sleepers in the East. I'm just looking at, like, the East it's rubbish, right? The Pacers, they'll still make the playoffs, I think, even without Halliburton, but they're not gonna be the same.
Steve Nash got Benedict Mathurin as the most improved player of the year, trying to fill Tyrese Halliburton's shoes on that team, and saying they need somebody to score, and he might be that one. So they might have a better year than we expect as well.
Pascal Siakam has history of leading teams, right? Like what he did in Toronto. He was the main guy there. But
Yeah.
yeah, so I think they'll make it. But then the Bulls, how far can Josh Giddey take them? The Cavaliers, they'll be good. The Pistons, they'll be good. I'm excited to watch the Pistons. The Bucks, they've got a sorry roster. Like, you've got Giannis, and yeah, you've always got a chance with Giannis, but I don't know, like, who'd they get? Turner? How much is Turner going to help? I'm not sure. The Wizards, again, not great. I was going to say the Hornets as my dark horse.
Brandon Miller, Miles Bridges,
LaMelo, the Gen Z face. LaMelo, man, like, I don't even understand what that guy says when he's talking with his different words, but I could see them just being exciting and surpassing expectations. Like, it doesn't take. Will they be better than the Nets? I think so. I think they'll be better than the Wizards.
They think they'll be better than Miami.
I don't know. Miami's got Maple Jordan.
Maple Jordan and Norm Powell, holdover from that
Did they
championship.
get Norm?
Storm and Norman.
I didn't know Miami got Norm.
Yeah. Yeah. He came over from the Clippers in that. Who went over the other way? Was that? I can't remember.
I think there's only 3 teams in the NBA where you give them a coaching bump, right? Like, it's whatever, doesn't matter too much on the players on the team. You give them a few extra wins because of who the coach is. And
So with that, Eric Spoelstra.
Spoelstra, I had Steve Kerr. Yep. And then Ty Lue.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't know if you would like, because Pop, he's not coaching anymore, so he can't be on that list. I don't think there's enough evidence with the Celtics coach. What's his name?
Missoula.
Missoula.
But Ime Udoka is another one of those guys.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
He's going to get the most out of his players. I actually would have had Thibodeau in that as well, but the Knicks got rid of him. But Thibodeau, he just creates structure and culture.
He'll get the most out of 5 players. He'll get quite a lot out of 6.
Yeah. He'll suck all their energy out in the first 82 games, and they're dead.
Yeah.
42
I
minutes a game.
That'll be tough for Thibodeau if the Knicks have a championship run this year. I think that would be really unfortunate. But I mean, it's a tough gig. If the formula's not working, it's not working.
So in the East, I think Cavs will still be the 1 seed. I would go Knicks the 2 seed, and then would you go Detroit at 3, or are you a Hawks guy?
I'm kind of high on the Hawks this year. Actually, I'm really intrigued with what they're going to be doing. I like the additions of Kristaps Porzingis. I think that that's a really solid acquisition. I think Alexander Walker gives a little bit more on defense. Yeah, I would love to see Trey sort of prove himself in the finals again. And if he can be a New York City villain again this year, that'll be fun. That'll be lots of fun.
And they've got Dyson Daniels as well, right? I think
Yes,
he's a
that's right.
great player.
Jalen
I would
Johnson,
love him on the
Dyson
Warriors.
Daniels, Okongwu. They've got some guys over there. Fast, long, good defense.
So Hawks, you could put the Hawks in at 3, and then at that 4 position, would you go Detroit or Orlando?
Oh, I've got Orlando, I think. Orlando and Detroit. I think, oh man, I'm looking forward to watching Orlando play this year. I think it was unfortunate with Banchero missing so many games last year, but like they were hitting their strides. And you put Desmond Bane on that team, like that's gonna be interesting.
So last year, Detroit won 44 games and the Magic won 41 games. So you think the Magic have done enough to make up that 3-game deficit
I think so, because didn't Detroit get injuries to Jaden Ivey and Jalen Durham?
in this preseason?
Yeah, I want to say that I
Well, Ivy didn't play last year, right? He was out with his broken leg last year.
yeah.
But Cade Cunningham, I mean, a bit of a late developer. He had a lot of hype coming out, but man, he's a good player.
Yeah.
Jalen Duren, I am high on Orlando as well. I think they've got a great coach. I think they need to play more through Banchero than through Franz Wagner. I do think for a team you need to have a hierarchy structure. Like know who your number 1 is, know who your number 2 is, know who number 3 is. So I think Banchero needs to be the focal point of the offense and play everything through him. Allow him to, I think in that mid post range, he does really well of catching the ball with his back, but then he can attack as well. But he can get players open is what I'm trying to say. Attract the double team and kick it to Desmond Bane. Desmond Bane's still the only 3-point shooter on the team, though.
That's gonna hurt.
He's a great 3-point shooter, but they were the worst 3-point shooting team in the NBA last year.
Oh, I
And
didn't
you,
realize that.
and you only add 1 player.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, fair enough. Well, we'll see. We'll see if Detroit above that. So where we were saying and then what's it? So after that, you've got Milwaukee, you've got Miami, you've got Philadelphia, and even Toronto.
Yeah.
Toronto could field some wins.
Yeah. Brandon Ingram, he could,
And Indiana's not going to be out of it. I think there's still going to be a play-in team. And then you're going to have potentially, Charlotte up there as your dark horse.
Yeah, I mean, maybe the East is as clogged up as the West is, but it's
Like
different.
you got your A team and your B team, like your A conference and your B conference. Like, do you
Yeah.
think any team in the East has a legitimate chance of dethroning whoever comes out of the West?
No, I mean, if Cleveland can play in the playoffs like they played in the regular season, they could. Like they've got some good, like Mobley and Allen. Like that's an amazing front court. The thing is, Garland and Mitchell they don't play well. Like in the playoffs, I don't think they meshed very well together.
With
And
Lonzo
so,
Ball, with Lonzo Ball coming into that with his creativity and his shooting, do you think that will be enough to sort of like loosen him up a little bit?
yeah, I guess it all comes down to the rotations in terms of like what combinations work. And I don't know. He's been pretty injured, Lonzo Ball. Like when he was healthy, he was great. Lockdown defender, reliable playmaker. I don't know. Cleveland, the East, I don't think the East really stands a huge chance. If the 76ers can be healthy, I think we're writing them out a little bit too early. If Joel Embiid and Paul George are healthy this year, they've got still Tyrese Maxey and who was their rookie of the year? What was his name?
Jared McCain. Was that who you're
Jared
talking about?
McCain. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, he was great. So do they still have Lowry? Is he retired? Is Kyle Lowry retired?
No, he's not.
Or is he like a free agent?
I think he's still in.
Yeah.
Lowry
Lowry.
West is out for Friday's preseason finale against Minnesota. Now he's still on the roster.
Okay. He hasn't aged quite as well as some of the other older players in the league, but he's a good, I don't know, 15-minute
when
game
you're
guy.
comparing it to what LeBron can do, that's a standard that I don't think is ever going to get matched by anybody. But
Steph?
yeah, Steph is 18th year. Yeah, that's right. I wonder how many more like phenomenal years we're going to watch Steph Curry fly around just flame throwing.
Well, at
Like
least this
that.
one. At least this year. at least this year.
Yeah.
All right, Lauren.
Yo.
I think the word superstar has been absolutely washed down over the last number of years. If you could have, so let's say superstardom is 5 players. The club of the superstars is only 5 players. Who's in the club?
Of like the absolute superstars of the NBA.
The super duper stars. Yeah, you're going to have to leave some really good players out of the club, but we need to redefine superstardom and who are not based off history, but right now, who are your 5 superstars?
Wow. So I think right on the top of the list, you got to have Jokic. I don't think there's anybody who's got comparable stats who's playing in the game right now. Back-to-back MVPs, could have been triple MVP. So he would be my number one pick. I think for all of the reasons and in terms of like on the court and off the court, you have to say LeBron. There's no way that you can say that he's not a superstar in the game, not because of what his ability is, but the fact that he's still playing. He's the all-time points record. He's got like all of the records. You got to say that he's in the top 5, not necessarily because of his skill this year, but his accolades. I think they speak for himself. I think the other 3 players, I would, in no particular order, I think it's got to be Shea, and then also Shea and Luka Doncic are in there, and I've got one other spot for Steph Curry for a similar reason to LeBron. I think that would be my top 5. Who are you swapping?
Oh, man, it's hard because you've still got Giannis, you've got Anthony Edwards. Those, I think, Giannis is the big one. It's like, how do you leave a list of Giannis? How do you leave Giannis off a list of those 5 spots? But that's the part of the superstar club. It's got to be. It's an exclusive club. If I had to replace one of those, I think I'm replacing Luka for Giannis.
Wow. Okay.
Only because Giannis has taken it. I know I'm not talking about history, but Giannis has taken a team to the promised land. He has won the championship. His team hasn't
So what's your
traded him.
definition of a superstar?
Well, that's a great question. I think what you mentioned about LeBron comes into effect. It's more than just your on-court performance. It's your everything about you. Like you've got this aura, you got this charisma, right? Which Jokic maybe doesn't have. But then, no matter who is on your team, would it be fair to say whoever is on your team, you go into the season with a chance to win the championship? Or is
Yeah.
that too much of a hyperbolic statement? Because we did say that the Bucks don't have a great roster, so
Yeah.
Giannis is sort of wasted over there.
But I guess, and I would say that that's probably why I overlooked him in that list. It's because I think Luca has a chance to win a championship this year. But then I think one of those interesting questions is, can a superstar, like a true bona fide superstar, get traded?
Mm.
And that is one of those things where I think that will, it will either be the greatest motivating factor for Luka Doncic, or it is the stain that prevents him from being in that air where, it's like Steph would never get traded. That no franchise in the world is going to trade Steph. You could probably even say that about Ant. Nobody's in their right mind is about to trade Ant.
Yeah.
Has had rumors, but it was only because Giannis wanted that, right? I
Mm.
think James Harden and Kevin Durant, those guys are fabulous players that skill-wise could be in the top 5, but because they bounced around so much, they've chosen a different sort of priority in their career compared to, and LeBron has bounced, but he's bounced on his terms and has taken each of those teams that he's been on to a championship, you know.
Yeah. 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 And another angle is, would you all right, so looking at those players, like, would you trade Giannis for Luka? Like, which team says no?
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
Or would you
that
trade Giannis for LeBron James right now?
if I'm the Lakers,
Yeah.
yeah, 100%.
So should Giannis be in the superstar club over LeBron James?
No.
Okay. Just
So,
no.
I hear your point. I hear your point. Like, certainly, if you're ranking top 10 players in the league or top 100, every single poll from ESPN through to the Ringer, all these guys, they've got Giannis over LeBron, and rightfully so. But if we're talking superstar, I think, like you said, that's got to transcend some of the statistics and the skill and the abilities.
Yeah.
Who are the last players to have 70 points in a game?
Joel Embiid, Devin Booker?
You're going to put them in the superstar club?
No.
No, hands down. Like the answer is, it's a hypothetical question, right? Like So I
Yeah.
think those components in the career, and that's where I think, you know, but for Giannis, that's an interesting point. And maybe I'd take Luca out and put Giannis there and say for Luca, like, yes, he did get the Mavs to the NBA finals and had an incredible run, has always been on teams that have been, I would say, teams that have been a little bit weaker than perhaps some of the so his margin for error was a little bit thinner than perhaps. But then again, man,
Are you saying Luca?
yeah, I think some of those Dallas teams that he was playing on weren't as strong.
Yeah. I'm
The
not
last
sure
few,
he works well with other players, right? They
but
tried to
yes,
pair him with Porzingis, that didn't work.
yeah,
He was doing all right with Kyrie, but it's like a your turn, my turn. Because he is an offense, it's hard to add ball dominant players around him. It's almost like you need Luca and then you need 3 and D players around him. That's how they almost won the championship. It
yeah,
was
yeah,
to
yeah,
surround the 3-point line with 3-point shooters and have Luca do his thing,
yeah.
driving kick.
That's an interesting. Go through the metrics a little bit, then yeah, I think that probably Luca's perhaps the most arguable one. You think we haven't said anything about Shea. You don't like watching Shea. Would you leave him in there or would you?
No, I can't take out the reigning MVP. Just because I don't like him doesn't mean
It doesn't
sorry,
mean he should be part of the superstar club, if you know what I mean. But
yeah. Well, what's interesting to me is that the internationals outweigh the US players, right? Like, it is such a international sport. You've got Jokic. Either Luka or Giannis still makes my argument because 'cause they're international. SGA's Canadian, and you've got LeBron and Steph as the Americans. So, the sport's changing. It's
that's
very
cool.
international. So,
It's cool. It's fun to watch. Definitely like seeing some of the NBL games and so forth. These guys are jumping out the gym in a way that they were never doing. Like when we moved here, what, 15 or 20 years ago.
for
Um,
that's Australian's
yeah, the
professional
Australian
basketball
NBL.
league.
Yeah. So yeah, people are the sport's developing. It's in a fun place.
So, Lauren, before we go, give me your predictions. Warriors, Lakers, who wins? And is it a big win or a little win?
Oh man, that's going to be a fun opening
N-
night.
No
I
LeBron.
I want to see the Warriors start this year and just torch, get into revenge mode, pick up where they left off with a healthy Steph Curry. I want to see them win by 15 and just really make a statement to the rest of the NBA. Do I think it's going to happen? Yeah, let's see it.
Let's go. Let's go. Go Warriors. All right. All right. Thanks, Lauren.
Yeah, cheers.